Good morning and welcome to the Bowls New Zealand coverage of the Bowls Auckland Finals Day. As you can see, we're broadcasting live from the Remuera Bowling Club. My name is Alex Reid and I'm joined in commentary today by Brett O'Reilly. And before I ask him how he is, I'll just tell you who we're going to watch play today. So it's the Women's Pairs Final, and we're going to see, as we hear, it's not a whistle, it's a siren, isn't it? We hear the siren go off. We're going to see Robin Fisher and Lee Singer from Royal Oak Bowls take on Catherine Bien and Ling Q of St Heliers. How do you think this final's going to play out, Brett?
Morena, Alex. Look, two very much informed pairings. Both have been well featured in Bowls Auckland events over the last couple of years. And obviously we saw Lee and Robin in the final of the Taranaki Women's Open Fours this year, narrowly beaten, and played some outstanding bowls. Interestingly, Catherine Bien was in the Auckland Intercentre team that recently performed very well in being runner-up.
Oh, it was close, wasn't it?
And in Christchurch, while Ling Q was actually playing for Bowls North Harbour in their team, who were beaten by Auckland in the semi-finals. But we know that historically Ling and Catherine have played a lot of bowls together. I think they're a former winner of the Australian Open Fours, and no surprise to see them reunited in this event, and no surprise really to see them through to the final. You'd have to give favouritism to them, just based on track record and history, but that would be to underscore the fact that Robin and Lee are really informed players in the Bowls Auckland Centre. And so I think we're going to be in for a really good game on this magnificent Remuera surface.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to the contrast, I suppose. And we see in Lee a relatively new outdoor bowler, although she's been around the indoor scene for a very long time, but still a junior in outdoor, whereas Robin's been around for forever and a day, so to speak. She always seems to be a constant force on the Auckland scene. Ling Q, I think she was a junior when she won the Australian Open, or very close to it, with Leanne Poulsen and the Australian skipper, whose name escapes me at the moment. It'll be interesting to see just the experience as we get sort of maybe past the halfway mark, Brett.
Absolutely, and we know in pairs, the combination is so important, because there will be ends where one of you doesn't get there, and so maintaining that composure, working well together, is really of critical importance, and that's where I would give Ling and Catherine a slight advantage, because they are the more established pair, though of course Lee and Robin are a pair in other ways as well, being family members.
Absolutely, and it's nice to see, of course. But one of the cool things about bowls is we see Lee Singer here. That's a pretty good third bowl to play in your first Open centre final, isn't it?
Absolutely. First really saw Lee playing for the Royal Oak Club. They were successful in the Bowls Auckland Interclub event last season, and I saw them play against Takapuna in the regional finals. Viewers will know that I'm involved with that club, and they were very impressive she was very impressive as a newer player, and you can see the benefit of that indoor experience, and being able to read the head and understand the game. So she'll be pleased to have retained the shot on this first changeover, and hopefully get a bit of momentum going for her and Robin.
Now, viewers tuning in who've been to Remuera before may notice that the green looks a slightly different colour. It's because I believe it's a new green that's been laid down, Brett, very recently indeed.
Well, that's news to me, Alex, and that's
there you go.
that's great for bowls. Great to see that the club and Bowls Auckland are continuing to invest in this. We've had a very, very difficult summer, in fact hard to describe it as that, and so much of our game has been played this year on artificial surfaces. They're becoming an increasingly important part of our game, not just because of the all year round benefits, but actually because many of our natural surface greens have just not been fit for play because of the weather we've had. So we saw that at the Nationals, and we've seen that at a lot of club and centre events. And as recently as yesterday, the weather wasn't particularly flash. So
oh, look at that. That's a nearly a result from heaven, isn't it?
Absolutely.
She wasn't wide.
No, that it'd be a disappointing bowl after you've already played trial ends to miss your line that badly. So we have Lee and Robin holding a shot here, and uh, they'll be really hoping they can get off to a good start here. And here's a very good bowl from Robin. That's second shot probably shot itself, and great way for the Royal Oak pair to start. And as we sit here in the commentary position, great to see a number of Royal Oak supporters coming in. I just saw James Gavin, coming in, and they'll be keenly supporting Lee and Robin, as they always do.
Yeah.
When Royal Oak players are performing, whether it's at centre or at national level.
We're like one of those clubs, and there's a few of them around that's really, really supportive of their players. Sort of active on social media as well, so you know that they're around.
Viewers may be aware that Royal Oak was a merger of the old Hillsborough and Onehunga clubs at the former Onehunga footprint, and they've recently completed a facility very similar to this Remuera one, a covered artificial green. Unfortunately, sustained some damage during the Auckland Anniversary Day floods. Or weekend floods, but I understand is now playable, which is great news.
Yeah,
and they'll be pretty pleased that Robin and Lee are holding two here as Catherine Bean delivers her last bowl on this first end of the Bowls Auckland Centre Pairs final.
and a beautiful track taken by the vast majority of these bowls here, which is a good sign. A reasonable track there again from Catherine, just slightly overplayed, so we will see that too. First blood really goes to Royal Oak.
And that's a good start. So great to see that we now have a number of covered artificial greens here in the Auckland area, and more planned, which is exciting. It's enabling our game to become a 12-month of the year game. It gives much more reliability in terms of the ability to be certain that you're going to be playing, and if people are going to give up their time, they really do want to make sure that they can play, and obviously also very useful for corporate bowls, for secondary school programs, and just really having the certainty that weather is not going to disrupt the program. So
yeah, just having that option, and I think certainly we've seen. I mean, you can't argue weather's been getting more and more unpredictable as the years go by, and it's less and less likely that you can run a Nationals, for example, uninterrupted. Look at this from Lee Singer. That's a great bowl.
Outstanding. So she's come out in fine form, and that's a great start on the second end. Remembering that Lee and Robin lead by 2 shots to 0 after the first of 18 ends in this Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs final.
That's the one. I'll just apologise now to viewers because Bowls Auckland is now Bowls Auckland, having been Auckland Bowls for the first 117 years of its existence.
And for someone who's a former board member of
Auckland
the
Bowls.
former Auckland Bowls, it's taking a little bit of getting used to for me too.
I'm certainly going to say it the wrong way around. I like the idea; it makes sense. Bowls Auckland makes sense, but I'm almost certainly going to say Auckland Bowls at some point today.
Just gave a wave to Mike Farrick, prominent member of Carlton Cornwall, and I think has also played at Henderson. He'll be here to watch his great mate Tony Garelja, who's playing in the men's open Pairs final, which is on an adjacent rink. Tony Garelja teaming up with Billy Fulton, his Henderson teammate, and they are playing Steve Hoft, newly minted Tongan international player, playing alongside one of Bowls Auckland's top rep players, Nick Thompson, from the Point Chevalier Club, and they're playing next door. And any keen sports followers might know that Mike Farrick used to be a pretty mean National League soccer or football player back in the 1970s, and I guess there's only a few people old enough as I am to remember that. So anyway, back to the bowls, and it's Lee Singer holding shot and playing a pretty good third bowl here, just covering there. We know that Catherine Bean is a very attacking player, and she'll be constantly playing to that head with weight if they're not holding. Um, and now Ling Q with her third and last bowl on the second end.
Yeah, I can recall watching Catherine play at Howick the year that Bowls Auckland won the Intercentre 3 or 4 years ago, and on that particular weekend she was just unbelievably good. Didn't seem to miss a shot.
She's an incredibly tenacious player. I don't think I've ever seen her play a bad game, Alex. I think she's very, very consistent. Obviously, sometimes people play better than you, but
it's a different kettle of fish, though, isn't
that's
it,
right.
than having a poor game.
But she's a good technician in the game, reads the game really well, and generally not unusual to see her in the last few in most of the tournaments that she plays in.
Interesting. I wonder if we'll see her sort the bowls out like that every end. Some people do that to sort of calm down, As a skip, you go, well, I've walked up the other end, I'll put my opposition's bowls to one side or in the ditch, and my bowls to the other.
Alex, I thought I'd discourage you from that habit. So it's Royal Oak holding shot as Robin Fisher comes down on the backhand side here at Remuera Bowling Club.
So my understanding is this green's a little bit quicker than what it used to run at, probably a quick 16. Seconds, classic, you can see it's a carpet green, not, I don't know how you describe what the artificial used to be here, not rubberised, but it was an unusual surface, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. In fact, I've played on the screen a couple of times. We played a Bowls 3-5 playoff game, and it was, the previous surface was quite an unusual consistency, and you felt, particularly when it was a little wet outside, it seemed to hold a bit of that moisture.
Yeah.
In the green, so it'll be interesting to see how this carpet performs by comparison. But certainly, even just from the trial ends that we watched earlier, and this first and second end, it's got a nice finish, and you can see not many short bowls.
Yeah.
And that was the previous green was definitely a lot slower.
Yeah, easy to be short.
It was, and you really had to make sure that you concentrated on speed.
Interesting that Catherine's on the backhand here, so she's got some bowls to use. I suppose it's that short bowl of Robin Fisher's, isn't it, that sits at 11 o'clock that sort of dissuades the around on the forehand shot.
Yeah, and an opportunity to come off that second shot of Ling's just on the right, slightly jack low. So at this stage, Royal Oak still holding the shot. That first bowl of Lee Singers. Now Robin Fisher, can you add another shot here?
Lovely delivery, here's Robin.
Yep, very very orthodox, very tidy, and she's really developed a reputation of playing some great bowls under pressure. She's played some magnificent bowls in that Taranaki Women's Open Fours final. I thought she playing number 3 for Remus Strickland, and that was a great game against Galen Kanawa and her team from Parongia. So Catherine Beard with her last bowl, again just looking to see if she can sit that shot. Any movement on the jack is advantageous. Again, just that little bit wide, and she'll find the hole again. So it's another one to Royal Oak, and early days, but nice to be on the board and in front.
Yeah, and always nice when you're like Lee will be pleased that her first bowl got close to the jack and then stayed there, because sometimes the frustration of a league can be you play your first bowl close, and how often does it not? It doesn't often stay close to the jack by the end of the end, so they'll be pleased with the start. It's interesting to note both Lee and Robin are blind, well, not blind bowlers, but they look down when they let go, sort of down at their feet almost when they deliver a bowl or jack.
Yeah, that seems to become more and more of a trend, I think, in the game. And I think my pet theory around that is because the bowls are much narrower now, it's much harder to take a line off the bank because typically people are standing in the way.
Yeah.
Where in the past, you were typically looking around the rink. Now you're often looking up the rink, and it's much harder to find a line. And not that I play as much these days, but I've even found myself bringing my line a lot closer to where I am for that reason, because quite often you can't see the bank. So whether it's that or maybe just their indoor experience, of being used to sort of looking
Yeah.
along the mat rather than looking at the end of the mat. I'm not sure, but it's certainly not doing them any harm. And we've had some great bowlers in the New Zealand game over many years. People like Phil Scogland, who just used to look slightly in front of them rather than looking more conventionally, as coaching would suggest, at a mark on the bank. And it certainly didn't do him any harm.
No, he was okay, wasn't he?
So Ling Q gets the shot there with her first bowl.
Her hallmark really is she's extremely consistent, Ling. Like, she'll put 3 bowls sort of within, that's almost as far away as you'd expect her to get, that first one. 3 bowls within 1.5 mats every end, for as many ends as you want to play, which is nice as a lead. And Lee there with perfect green, but just overplaying her second bowl.
Yeah, slightly longer end this time. And I think sometimes, particularly when you're playing in these indoor arenas, takes a little bit of adjustment. Sometimes just with your sight lines, just working, but you don't always have the same reference points when you're playing indoors, so it might just take a little bit of adjustment. And
oh, she's got 1 clap already from Catherine.
Yep, Ling Q making the most of that again. A little
just
bit,
1 clap.
A little bit over, yeah, a little bit heavier than probably we thought, and I think that's down to the fact that this green has got a lot more finish than probably people are used to here at Remuera.
Bit more free, and Lee there on the forehand side. Nice delivery as well. Now, it'll be interesting to see how much this ball comes back in. That's a very generous green she's taken, but it should work its way back a little. That's not bad.
Yeah, that'll be second shot, I think. And still plenty of room for the skips. Ling Q with her last bowl.
You can see Des Fisher with the hat on to the right of your screen. That's Robin's husband.
Sitting with Gail, the Royal Oak president. And I see Gavin Brown and a number of other prominent Royal Oak players and members in the crowd.
Royal Oak shirts everywhere. We see Ling on the forehand, looking to sort of return more to the speed she played with her first bowl.
Close here. Just with that extra finish, this bowl will definitely be the shot itself. But again, still plenty of room for Robin and Catherine, and I would be very surprised if we don't see a number of bowls inside there.
It's the sort of end, if you're Robin and Lee, you'd be disappointed to drop a number here, because you cross over, you've got 3 bowls, there's an ample amount of room, and Robin's pretty good, so she'll expect herself, even with her first bowl, just about to draw the shot, I think.
Absolutely.
We'll see how accurate that is as the players cross over. Using the old-fashioned scoreboard for this game. Brett, not the whatever you call the digital scoreboards that sometimes come into use here at Remuera.
And Robin Fisher on a pretty good line here. Not quite sure if she's going to have the speed, but good sighter for her with her first bowl.
Beautiful track, and this is where, if you're Catherine, we talk about that first bowl of the skip and pairs so often. It's like the money bowl, isn't it? So Catherine will be like, if I draw a front toucher here, suddenly the pressure has just turned around, and suddenly Robin and Lee are staring down the barrel of 3 down, whereas 40 seconds ago it was an easy head.
Absolutely, I think there's always the opportunity with this first bowl to really to determine how you're going to play the rest of the end, and that's a good tidy first bowl from Catherine. The shot itself, and it's the St Heliers team holding 3 shots.
Robin on the forehand again, looking to make her correction.
Slightly tighter than her first, but she's got good weight. Does she hold around the bowl? She does, and that's a pretty tidy bowl. Definitely not shot, but it's probably reduced it down to at least either 1 or 2.
And we can see there the weight. If she keeps the same weight and takes a foot more green, she's going to draw the shot there.
Absolutely.
So we'll probably see that conversation happen. Often you see the skips ask the lead, like, well, where did my bowl finish up in relation to the jack, sort of thing.
Catherine Bean again out with really good line on that hand. Her bowls get a lot of finish, and she's going to be pretty close here. Just pulling up.
Need a curling broom just to get that extra metre out.
Commentator's curse.
So right over to the right on the mat. Seen her let go of smoother bowls.
Yep, that's let's just see how much turn she gets from that bowl. Just a little heavy that time. You know, we often see when a bowl is sort of in your line, you tend to put on just a little bit more weight to try and get around it, even though you don't need to. So Lin Q saying to Catherine, look, we've definitely got the shot, but if you can turn that bowl out a couple of rolls, that'll bring at least 2 more shots in, maybe more.
And if she's slightly narrow, she's just going to clunk onto that short bowl of Ling's. So it's a reasonably safe bowl to play here, Catherine.
And Catherine's not afraid to attack. She's always very positive player, always looking for results. As you rightly called, Alex, she is slightly tight, and I think she's going to get close to. Is she drawing a shot here, or is she going to trail that jack?
Oh, that was a good bowl. That was well played.
It was.
So we'll see how many. Just look for an indication from the players as to how many that was. But a good end there from the St. Heliers combination. And on the board now, Ling looks like she's got her.
Out comes one.
It's the old trick of putting the conceded bowls on the bowls cloth so there's no confusion. And Ling will measure, or she should measure the Royal Oak bowl first and then go around in a circle. So that's what she's doing there. So that's Robin's bowl at 4 o'clock. And then she'll see which ones beat that.
Great to see a steady stream of spectators coming into this venue. I mean, it's a great innovation. The Bowls Auckland finals day been going for a few seasons now, but it's a great opportunity to come and see top class bowls when clubs know there aren't a lot of other things on. So that's 3 to Catherine Bean and Ling Q. The shot bowl that we'd called, Catherine's last bowl, and one of the other, Catherine's first bowl, all in the count. So we're back to all square after 3 ends of this 18 ends in the Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs final.
Yeah, and a good 3 there. Ling and Catherine will be happy with that. Just get on the board, you know, sort of. It feels funny, but if you go 3 or 4 ends without scoring, even if you're not a lot down, you start the pressure. That's another way that pressure can build in this game that we play. You could be 5-0 down after 5, and it feels worse than 5-0.
Absolutely. We'll bring viewers scores from some of the other games throughout the day. We're going to be on. We have 3 finals that we'll be commentating on today in this Bowls Auckland finals day. One of which I believe may be featuring you, Alex.
Yeah.
In the men's Centre Open Fours final.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to try and remember how to play bowls. And
I believe you've won that before. I think.
I think we have.
Yeah.
Yes.
With maybe that team or a similar team. So we'll look forward to seeing if you've remembered how to play, given how much time you've been spending doing commentary work in the last couple of weeks.
It could be pretty scratchy, Brett, but we'll see what comes out of my hand.
Great first bowl from Ling Q. And on that subject, Alex, obviously freshly back from the multi-nations, a really good looked like a very good tournament and a pretty good performance by a New Zealand team that was a combination, I guess, of established players but also some development players. What were your observations of the tournament, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed. Firstly, it was nice to have a full international event back. You know, I know we've had Trans-Tasman since the little pandemic that we've been going through, but it's a full international event. It was well run. There were nations. We had one from the Northern Hemisphere with Ireland, and Queensland stepped in as a state actually after a country pulled out at the last minute. So essentially, you had 3 Australian teams. A lot of depth. You know, there was everyone. You look around. Even section play games, or later on when it was 6th and 7th playoffs. Look at Ling Q's really finding her line here.
Wow.
Even playoffs for 6th and 7th were still really high quality games. So I think it was a good test for our Blackjacks. It was really noticeable, I think, the team spirit amongst not only the Blackjacks team but the management staff and the rink coaches.
Great.
They sort of gathered together. And Lee Singer here on the forehand.
Great ball
Good
from
shot. And rightly so, a round of applause there from Lee. And I think it reflected in the results too, Brett. We saw, I wouldn't call it a dominant display from our women, but I want to. You know, it was, they just looked so together. They won the the women's Blackjacks won the trophy for the best overall country at the
wow.
multi-nations.
I hadn't picked that up, but doesn't surprise me.
So
They certainly did very well.
Gold in the triples and the pairs. And what was noticeable about that was that there was no Australian combination against them in those finals because they'd been knocked out earlier. And look at this from Link Q.
Wow. High quality stuff here at Remuera. 2 shots to Lin Q and the St Heliers team, and Catherine Bean very happily adding some chalk to that bowl just to indicate it's a toucher.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So Lee, after playing a bomb with her second bowl, now has to play another good bowl with her third.
And forced to change her hand, but she's slightly wide and slightly short, but definitely a very good second bowl from her.
Yeah.
And Alex, I haven't seen the full game, but even in the men's fours, it looked like our New Zealand team played pretty well up against Aaron Sheriff, who I think many people regard as the top, if not one of the best players in the world, particularly on Australian greens.
Probably the best player in the world at the moment, I think. And I felt that the New Zealand men outplayed the Australian, and for 3 bowls, they would have come away with the gold there. So very competitive all around.
And I thought that was significant because that was a fairly untried New Zealand fours team. Obviously, Tony Grantham, very established at this level, but Chris Lalive, Lance Pascoe, and
Sheldon Bagri-Howley.
Sheldon and Lance, particularly new to this level. Chris has been on the, in the New Zealand squad for a couple of seasons, but I thought that was an outstanding result. And,
I was super impressed, and I watched a lot of the men's games. I had half a day off, so as you do on your day off, you go and watch the bowls. Went to Mudgery Bar, however you say it, and watched the men's team compete there in the triples and the pairs, and they didn't come away with wins on that day, but they were very competitive. I was very impressed with what I saw, and I think we're in for maybe a good 5 to 10 years of international bowls in New Zealand.
Yeah, great to see this new generation of players coming through. So St Heliers holding 2 here. Catherine Bean went to the back with her first bowl, just covering, and we've got Robin Fisher just...
Let's get that one square.
That gives her another one on the head, so it might encourage her to attack a little more now that she's got third shot and maybe 4th or 5th with that bowl.
She was probably looking to draw the 2 metre mark, I think, Brett, there, eh? And if she was tight, it would have been clunking into the jack and the bowls.
Catherine Bean swapping around to her backhand, and this Lin Q says, look, come down and you can draw another shot here. Again, just probably being caught a little bit wide on that side, not turning quite as much as the other side, and she's had good weight or good speed, but just a little wide, as we can see. So what does Robin Fisher do here? I imagine she'll be reaching up to those bowls, looking for a sit or a trail of
yeah, look at this line. That's a line with more intent here from Robin Fisher, but drifting.
Yeah, that drifted
didn't
a
want
lot.
To come back at all.
Yeah, I mean, out of the hand, that looked tight. And to finish on the outside there, maybe a pointer for things to come.
And something to remember. So Robin will have learnt from that bowl, and as will all the players watching, you think, well, if we're going to play with that sort of run shot weight, it wasn't even run shot weight, there's a chance the bowls are just going to drift out.
Close here from Catherine B, and just inside that, and she's going to be very close here as the bowl pulls towards the jack. That's magnificent.
How good is that? That's a great bowl.
It's 3 shots to St Heliers. Toucher for Catherine B, and as Lin Q brings out the chalk, and
even in collision, this could go ugly for Robin.
And so Robin will need to be reaching up there on her backhand.
Oh, I think she's wide.
She's a bit wide. I agree, Alex. That hand's tight. Almost, you can just see the bowl slightly shifting there. Sometimes, with a newly laid surface, it does take a little while to bed in. So that's 3 to St Heliers. That's 2 threes in a row for them, and suddenly they're 6-3 up.
Yeah, sort of. We've blinked really, and they're a few in front. But from good bowls, I mean, that end even we saw St Heliers had to get the shot back because Lee Singer drew it with her second bowl, and we saw Lin Q play a great shot for 2. So they'll be looking to ride this little run of form.
And Alex, it looked like I managed to catch a few of the multi-nations games on YouTube, and thank you to you and the Bowls New Zealand team for the work in bringing that commentary to us. I mean, it's probably the most certainly from my memory, it's probably the most amount of content we've had of a New Zealand team playing overseas, certainly in an event like that. And it was great to be able to see firsthand how they were going. But I guess also interesting to have a few other, have the Islands and the South Africas there, because we play against the Australians a lot.
We do. Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's good to play other countries that have a slightly different approach. Hong Kong, China were there, and I think their men's fours went pretty well.
They toppled Australia in section play, the
Absolutely.
Hong Kong China fours team. So it was good. It was just it was a really good mix, and you could tell the players, because it's been a while since we've had that style of competition, every country was there for the experience as well. It was just a really enjoyable competition to be a part of, and it's a very small version of what the World Bowls is going to be in a few months' time. And if it's any indication, that's going to be a magnificent tournament.
And I think we can see, the game at that international level is becoming younger and younger. Very young side from Hong Kong, and if you follow the results from the Hong Kong China Association, you'll see that they've got a real cadre of young players, and obviously a very young New Zealand squad as well. Probably one of the youngest squads we've had, in as a full international team at multi-nations. And I think the success of that Hong Kong team just highlights the growth of the game in Asia. Some viewers will know that I'm on the World Bowls board, and we're certainly very focused on Asia. The plan is to have the World Bowls in Hong Kong, China in 2025.
Oh, brilliant.
So that'll be the next World Bowls. We're just working with Hong Kong on the logistics of hosting that at the moment. And we're also seeing a lot of people of Asian ethnicity playing bowls in other countries. And Catherine Bean and Ling Q have really been two of the sort of pioneers, certainly at the top end of the game here in New Zealand, and particularly in the Bowls Auckland area.
Yeah, and I think something that we miss, or something that I've been pleased to see in the last maybe decade of bowls, indoor and outdoor, is the more diverse range of people that we have playing our game, because it's an easy game to play. It's low barriers to entry, really. It's affordable, and there are huge communities that we have in New Zealand. If we look at how badminton's been taken up, why not bowls?
Absolutely, because it isn't just the sporting aspect, it's the public health aspect, and that's both physical, because you can keep fit, but also mental, because you become part of a community of people that look after each other. And I see that at a number of clubs where people, the roll-up is the highlight for people who are not necessarily living with family, might be living on their own, and the opportunity of getting down to the club and being in, and people of all ages, not just people who might fit the older stereotype of bowls, who just enjoy that fellowship, that camaraderie.
100%.
And that. So as we change over here, it's Ling Q holding 2 shots for the St Heliers pair. Lee Singer just missing her line a little bit with her last bowl. And
still feel like it's a good head for Royal Oak there, though, don't you? Because we've got Lee's bowl that sits at 6 o'clock. So Robin can play with confidence on her backhand side, but just to our right as we see it. There's not that much danger of stuff going wrong. You can clunk through a bowl, trail the jack back.
No, and I think one of the hallmarks of both these skips are they're very positive. They're looking to turn the game around. Catherine she'll be looking to add a shot here, but also she'll be mindful of the way Robin plays, and she's played a good bowl here. Very close here from Catherine Bean.
This is a good shot, and that's brilliant, because she's actually made the target smaller there, and it'll be interesting to see what weight Robin opts to play this first bowl with.
Yeah, that tightens that head up nicely and almost forces Robin to play with more weight, and we're seeing that here.
She's not far away.
Reaches down. Does she hold, Alex?
She's not far away.
Does she hold?
Not far away.
Oh. Well, look,
yeah, good bowl.
Great bowl. I mean, she was 3 down there. She's definitely not 3 down now. Probably a measure of a shot between that back bowl of Lee Singer's and Ling Q's bowl. So yeah, great result from Robin, and she was up to the challenge.
Well, that's what we're talking about with the first bowl of the skip in a pairs game. It's so important, because it's either you're salvaging and then you get 2 bowls to build off the salvage, or you're putting the nail in the proverbial coffin. If you miss the first bowl, either way, the pressure's just changed so much.
Catherine Bean just steering wide with her second bowl. In fact, just having a look to see if it's in. No, it's out.
Out. So here we see the head turned around, and Robin with room to draw now on her backhand side. I can tell you that the men's pairs final, which is going on an adjacent rink, is 3-all after 5 ends. And that's the one we'll be giving updates. That's the only other final going on the screen at the moment. You can see to the far right the 1 to 5 singles are down to quarterfinals. So when they get down to the semi and final, we can give updates to them as well.
Robin Fisher just falling short there. She chose to take a narrower line, I guess, having seen Catherine Bean's bowl hold out a little bit on that hand, but just didn't quite have the weight to reach. So I think Catherine and Ling are holding here, based on the signal from Lee Singer, and this is a much better bowl from Catherine Bean.
Lovely
here.
correction there from Catherine, isn't it?
Just slides by, and I see Ling having a good look.
Robin wasting no time. I quite like that from Robin, actually, because there's not much to think about here, is there?
No.
There'd be no point to stop and have a chat about your shot selection. You just have to add a bit of weight, and she's done that.
And she's played this pretty well, taking that tight line again, and that's definitely the shot.
Lovely
well played, Robin Fisher. Applause from the loyal Royal Oak faithful. And that is one to Royal Oak. Important to just stop the rot, as we say. You know, having dropped 2 threes in a row, they wouldn't have wanted to drop numbers there. And so nice bowl from Robin Fisher. And at 6-4, nothing in it after 5 of the 18 ends of this Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs final.
For sure, and we haven't really seen a consistent length thrown or favoured by a team yet, I don't think, Brett, would you say?
No, I think that's still feeling their way out, and the fact that this is a newer surface, they're probably also just understanding how that surface plays.
To be fair, that did fly under the radar a little bit. I learnt yesterday when I turned up to help set up the broadcast equipment that it was no longer the surface it was. So I would say that the vast majority of players coming here for the finals day were expecting to play on a slow green, and you sort of, you do visualise your day's bowls.
You do.
Beforehand, and they will have been all visualising, reaching through and making sure it was up on this heavy green, which isn't.
Very true. Nice opening bowl from Lee Singer. She's preferring this forehand side, which is definitely the turning side of the rink in both directions. And so a nice first bowl from her, finishing almost jack level for shot, and it's Ling Q also on that side. Really nice, efficient action. I think all 4 of these players are pretty orthodox deliverers of the bowl.
Good players to take cues from, really. Look at this here from Ling. That's a great shot.
I did observe, Alex, with the multi-nations, you have to say Carmen Anderson has a delivery all of her own.
Yep.
It's and remarkable that the player that the Norfolk Islanders nicknamed Grandma is still winning things. I think she won the Cabramatta.
She defeated Kerry Murphy in the final.
In the final, that's right, and just still playing some outstanding bowls. I did wonder about the wisdom of them swapping over for the final, because certainly Selena Goddard was pretty impressive off the front, and Caitlin Lynch was just magnificent.
It was one of those games that you watch, and almost from the first end you're thinking it's going to be so hard for New Zealand to not win this game, because they were just going so well. Yeah,
and I think I think we're all pretty proud that Caitlin and Selena are very quickly becoming one of the best pairs combinations in the world. I mean, they obviously really enjoy playing together, and that shows.
Yeah. And
they play well together.
Yeah, I think I said to Kevin, as we see Ling on the right, I mean, this is a pretty good head of bowls building here from these leads. I think I said to Kevin, our previous New Zealand pairing is one of the greatest pairings of all time, and Joe Edwards and Val Smith. And, it wouldn't surprise me if at the completion of Caitlin and Selena's careers, we look back on that pairing as worthy successes.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had some amazing pairs combinations over the years. You think back to Judy Howard and Mari Watson, and the success that they had at Commonwealth Games level. As you say, Joe and Val, and in fact Joe with some other
Well,
pairs
Joe and
leads.
Sharon was the first one,
That's
wasn't
right,
it?
you know, and that's really where Joe cut her teeth in international bowls, playing with Sharon, and then picked up that mantle. And now it's Selena and Caitlin doing that, and I'm with you, Alex. I think they have every opportunity to build a very, very good international track record. In fact, let me correct myself, they are already building a very good international track record with a bronze in the Commonwealth Games, a gold now in the multi-nations, and I think,
I'd be happy.
yeah,
That's good stuff.
without presupposing the selection of the New Zealand team for the World Bowls, which will be at that Broadbeach Club in August and September, we would definitely expect the two of them to be somewhere in the five-person women's team
For sure.
that will be competing. So
Now, Robin here on her forehand, Brett. It would have been almost instinctive to play the backhand side, perhaps. We'll just have a look at this head again because we've got those two white bowls. Oh, no, forehand probably more open than it looks on these cameras.
yeah, and I think maybe mindful of just that other hand seeming to hold a little bit. Maybe she just felt a bit more draw there.
Yeah.
And pretty good effort with that first bowl, just about a metre short, one maybe two down, but Catherine Bean will now be looking to. This is the consolidated bowl. If she can really get one close here, then it starts to make it a little bit more difficult for Robin and Lee in this end, and she's close.
Giving it that lovely arc. So let's watch if this bowl. Yeah, it is going to come back. Oh, that's a nice hand, isn't it?
Yep, and
Beautiful.
Catherine gets a nice turn out of her bowls. I'm not sure what she's playing with, but it's a turning bowl, and so suddenly the pressure just swings a bit now onto Lee. Again, she's got a good line. She's gone a little bit wider, and her bowls do not turn quite so much, and she's a little bit heavy as well.
Just
so
that slightly overplayed there for Robin. She actually got back just about to the centre line at the end of it, but always, if you look at how far past it was never, the breaking point was always coming too late there, I think.
So, Catherine Bean again, nice, tidy delivery in action, minimum fuss, and here we go again as it breaks.
Mulling it back in, following Robin Fisher's bowl down just about, and Lee will just indicate how many down they are. You feel like they're almost committed to the draw here on the forehand.
Yep, Lee said they're two down. Or she thinks that they're two down. So just saying to Robin, look, just beat my foot. You can get inside my foot there.
It fascinates me. Some bowlers, and Robin's obviously one of them, like having a player place a foot because it gives you a physical, well, the theory is it gives you a literal place to aim, as we see Robin Fisher.
Does she hold?
She's not far away. Square onto hers is fine. Oh, not quite. Great effort.
Yes, probably had okay drawing weight, but certainly if she was going to make contact with the bowl, it was going to make it difficult. So,
some players like being given a foot. Other players, I've seen a few players get a little bit twitchy when they're given a foot on a rink because they go, well, I know where I want to go. Don't give me a physical place.
Lin Q said just beat the wing bowl for shot, and so Catherine again down this forehand side. Again, good line. Watch this bowl as it starts to break now. She's going to be close here.
Beautiful.
She's going to be very close.
That's just my recollection of that intercenter that bowls Auckland won and the Howard Greens, and I watched Catherine play.
Out comes one.
Unbelievably good.
Out come two
three.
more. I think Ling likes her bowl. No, just moving that one out of the way so she can get down to measure. So
realistically, the closest bowl of Royal Oak is the one at 3 o'clock on the screen of Lee's, would you say, Brett?
Yeah, from certainly from our commentary position, that looks like its fourth shot. But the measure will tell. Great to see New Zealand international Michael Galloway from the Royal Oak Club, one of the Rockets as they call themselves, coming in. It's 3. And so 9-3 now to Catherine B and Ling Q after 6 of the 18 ends in this Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs final. Nice, handy lead for them, and I think at this stage of the game, you'd have to say Catherine and Ling just a little more consistent, Alex.
Yeah, not much. Enough to be, I think a 5-point lead's about right. If you're Robin and Lee, it's about staying no further than 5 points away. And as you get to that last third of the game, so we're only not even halfway, the last third of the game is when Robin and Lee want to come home strong. So 5 points is about as far behind as you'd want to be, and it is, I think, a fair enough reflection if we think about how well Catherine and Ling have been playing. All four players have had the right green, but I think we've seen the right weight come from Catherine and Ling just to maybe, I don't know, 15 to 20% more often.
And Alex, just referring to the multinations again, while we've seen probably, I think, the five players that represented New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games cement their position in the women's team, Caitlin Lynch, Selena Goddard, Nicole Toomey, Taylor Bruce and Val Smith. I don't think we've had this much depth in the men's squad, certainly in recent years, and so we've got a whole crop of new players as Ling Q comes down.
She's on fire, look at that.
Magnificent. But we've got the 7 players that were in the squad in the multinations, all of whom seem to have pretty good tournaments, and then obviously a number of experienced players that weren't in that squad. So it's going to be a fascinating process over the next few weeks and months. Yeah, like you.
Good luck to the selectors.
Yes, it's going to be an interesting challenge, but just great to see so much depth in that men's squad, and hats off to them for I guess making the move to give some of the younger emerging players the opportunity to showcase their talent and against some of the best players in the world.
Oh, for sure. I think we often underrate ourselves, to be honest, as Kiwis we do anyway. It's just at the attitude. But I think we often underrate how good we are and how good the domestic competition is here. I think we tend to look over with rose-tinted glasses across the ditch because there's so much. You can see a lot of it broadcast as well and think, well, we're not as good as that. But, well, the multinations prove to me that we are.
Absolutely. 2 shots to Ling Q here, and a much better bowl from Lee Singer with her second bowl. She's around the back with her first. Still 2 to St Heliers, but definitely good to have a bowl on the head. I think also a number of our players now are getting opportunities to play against the Australians in UBC, and some of them are playing in the BPL, and so I think with that comes a confidence that they can be competitive at that level.
And playing on those greens too, that's another thing that we forget. You look at the broadcasts we do of our nationals, say, on 17, 18 second greens. It's literally a different game. You cannot expect to have 16 bowls within a metre on a 17 second green. You could get a gust. You could play the same bowl 3 times, get a gust of wind, and it's going to finish in a different spot. In Australia and the Northern Hemisphere, it's easier to stack your heads up. So I think we just lose a little bit of perspective, Brett. It's been a frustration of mine.
I agree entirely with you. Lee Singer just a little narrow there with her last bowl. Again, good speed. So 2 to St Heliers. I had the opportunity when I was living in Sydney to play pennants there back in the 1990s, and I don't think I'd ever been involved in having to play at a higher standard, just simply because the greens and the conditions were so good, and players were much more confident of playing with weight rather than very little driving, because people didn't need to. You could just play with that sort of precision, and I think the more play our players get in those conditions, the better they'll be, and I think that showed at multinations. Catherine being down on the forehand side with her first bowl here, and again you just see that beautiful arc that she gets from her bowl, and that's the shot itself. Great bowl from the St Heliers skip.
They're starting to look pretty assured here, aren't they?
Yep. Look, I'd said it at in my opening remarks that they're a very established pairs combination, and very well performed at both at centre and at national level, and just that experience showing. But
Robin Fisher on the forehand side. That's unlucky, really. She was a bowl wide, and that's a sign of Robin's experience, because you you're down, you have to be up. They're not going to die wondering here the Royal Oak combination.
And we saw in that Taranaki Open Fours final, Robin play some really telling attacking shots, which kept their team in the game. Lee, of course, was part of that team as well, along with her daughter, Nicole, in that team in Remus Strickland. So they're not going to go down without a fight.
Can you recall, did her bowl stay up on the rink, Brett, or did it go careering?
I think it went off the rink.
I was just going to say, but we can see Lee Singer's bowl at the back at 12 o'clock, so there's no reason why you wouldn't just hit that shot bowl again. The jack's going to pop pretty square back, you'd think.
Absolutely, and Lee saying to Robin, look, the bowl's right on it, but we've got 2 catches, so you can afford to be down and just look at getting a little bit of a
just playing slightly less weight with this one.
Yeah, but actually it surprised me. I thought she may have played attacking weight again, but she's drawn very, very well. Is this going to be the shot?
Goodness gracious me.
Great
What a bowl that was. I wouldn't have been brave enough to do that, Brett. I would have been having another nibble. But in for second shot, and maybe now she's made it safe to have a go at this if you've drawn second.
Absolutely.
Catherine just on the forehand.
She can just draw up there pretty confidently. She might have been tempted for a back bowl, but I think she can draw down there. And she's going to be close again. Look at it as this bowl starts to break off that forehand side and it swings now.
Could get unlucky. Well, the positive for St Heliers is Robin's bowl's no longer locked in. So it now becomes more dangerous to have a nibble because you can chip your own bowl out.
Absolutely right. And I think Robin will be just looking to play with reaching weight, see if she can get a contact on the shot bowl. Or she's come up to have a look, and very wise too.
Yeah, and the speed she'll play, you would think, is the sort of speed you think to yourself, well, if I remove my shot bowl or my second shot bowl, the red one in the middle, my collision bowl needs to hang around and stay second shot. So no more than a metre, maybe 2 if you get something square.
Absolutely. I mean, probably the ideal result is just off those 2 Catherine Behan bowls to the left as we see the head, just seeing if you can just get a little edge off those bowls, maybe turn your bowl around onto the jack and maybe move the jack off towards Lee Singer's bowl on the right-hand side there. So let's see what Robin does.
Plays these shots well. It's a lovely weight for Robin. On the forehand, came out smooth.
Yep, no, she's on a good line here.
Very close. Oh, it's drifting, Brett.
No, it starts to break now. She's got good weight. Here it comes. Just a little wide. Perhaps not quite as much weight as she needed to get in there. But so that's 1 to St Heliers. That shot bowl of Catherine Behan's, and they're out to a 10-4 lead now after 7 of the 18 ends in this Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs final. We'll get some more scores for you shortly from some of the other games in this that are happening here at the Remuera Bowling Club in Bowls Auckland's Centre Finals Day. And great to see a crowd starting to build up. You won't see it from that camera angle because the bleachers are down the end where Catherine Behan is about to straighten up the jack. But yeah, there you are. You can start to see that's the Royal Oak contingent. And they'll be willing, Robin and Lee, I think mother-in-lawish.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah, that'll do. I knew there was a family connection there, but so great to see.
So Steve Fisher, who's he's won a national title in indoor bowls and has taken up the outdoor game now. I think he's in the 1 to 5 singles quarters finals to the left. Steve Fisher is Lee's partner.
Got it.
And Nicole, the daughter of Lee.
Got it. There you go.
Something like that. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Well,
I've known them for a while.
Well, it's more than I know, Alex. So anyway, it's great to see a family connection, and obviously 2 people, and Lee and Robin, that get on very well together. They always seem to be very calm, good sports, whether things go right or wrong. But right now, they've got a little problem, and that is actually a large problem, and that is Ling Q, who has really started to come onto her game as the St Heliers lead. And it's an old adage, pairs is the leads game.
Yeah.
And if the lead's starting to hunk them on, then it really starts to call the tune.
Yeah, it becomes hard, doesn't it?
And here we have Ling again on a beautiful line coming down here. This will be the shot itself. Magnificent.
Great bowl there from Ling Q. So, I mean, I suppose you've got two choices really as a team. If someone like Ling is doing what Ling's doing now, and it's either you persist with trying to outdraw them, which can work sometimes, or you become more aggressive with your second and third bowl of your lead. So instead of getting Lee to draw the shot, Robin might ask Lee to play through to the 2 metre mark so that if she misses, she's passed, which gives Robin something to use. If she connects, it's a good bowl.
Robin Fisher riding that bowl from Lee Singham, beautiful line, but just pulling up a metre short. And Catherine Bean showing all of her experience. We've got 2 Ling. Just see if you can pop one around behind here, because knowing Robin Fisher, she won't be shy and playing to the head with a bit of weight. So let's get a bit of cover in just in case that jack moves again, as it has a couple of times in this game already. And again, Ling Q, beautiful line out there on that drawing side of this rink here at Remuera.
Good shot.
And there's the one arm clap from Catherine Bean. Now both hands engaged to say you got it exactly where I asked you to, and that's a pretty good foundation for any peer skip to build from.
Absolutely. And we see Lee here looking to make a correction. If she hits her bowl, it's good. Gets it square. Oh, just still shy. Just short of a gallop, really, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's tricky. There is a split down on the backhand side for Robin Fisher, and that may well suit her style of play. She has that really nice little backhand,
beautiful, Yeah.
runner, and she's got both of her bowls to either come off or to turn up. So I don't imagine that she'll be short playing to this.
At the very least, her minimum weight would be, you as a skip as Robin, you think, well, I'm on my backhand and I'll draw to that back bowl of Ling's that sits at 7 o'clock on the screen, and on the way through, you're going to be playing a split or moving the jack.
Absolutely. And for Catherine Bean, she'll be saying, well, okay, how do I consolidate this head without making it more of a target? Because I'm holding 2 good shots. I'm leading 10-4. So the momentum is in my favour, and I don't want to make it any easier. So see what she's going to do here. She's on the forehand side, I think. Yep. Which she played 3 excellent bowls on that side the last time. She'll be looking to come around those short bowls, I think.
Oh, that one didn't come out very good. I mean, I've struggled to believe. Is this an intentional block? It's very short. She wouldn't have missed by that much on purpose.
No, I think she's played that as an intentional block.
And it's a good block too. Look at that.
Well
That's
done.
such a rare shot to see in the outdoor game.
And particularly with the first bowl.
Yeah.
In an end. So that just shows you how confident she is. So she's forced Robin over onto the forehand side, which is the turning side of the rink. So a bit harder to play that shot in some ways.
Needs a slice of good fortune here. Ooh, just about got it too.
Yeah, good effort. Right, so this time...
That's fascinating. They've put a block in with the first bowl.
That just shows you, real confidence. They've got 2 good shots. They're not going to build the head up. And this time, Catherine Bean, at the request of Ling Q, is out on the backhand side and just trying to get around and behind there, just in case there's a bit of a splash of the jack. And Catherine's just pulled up short. Good line, but yep. just probably a couple of metres short from where she was intending on getting. So Robin Fisher again probing down on the forehand side.
Giving this
2
one
down.
a look.
Looks a little wide to me, Alex.
Yeah, so she's now hoping that you're going to go square through this back bowl. Oh, just starting to get into danger territory here. The Fisher and Singer combination.
And possibly a little quick. You want to make sure you're not losing your bowl. You give it the chance to turn and get some contact there. So Catherine Bean again out on the backhand side. She's gone a little wider this time, and we know that hand doesn't turn so much, but she's got pretty good weight. Now it starts to break, and that's a pretty good bowl. That's really a little wider maybe than where Lin Q wanted her, but it gets them a bowl on that side if the jack does move. So what can Robin Fisher do? She's 2 down on the head. She's 10-4 down on the board. And again, probing down that forehand side. Better weight this time, I think. Is it going to pull?
Trying.
No, it's not.
It was a fair effort, but not to be. I think we're going to see two more to the St. Heliers combination. And a good lead now. We're at the halfway mark. So Robin and Lee with some work to do. I think they'll probably talk about changing the game plan a little bit at this stage.
Yeah, look, I think that's a dangerous weight to play on these surfaces, because I think with the carpet greens we do tend to find the bowls hold a little bit with weight. And I think, a lot of players would say you either go really quick, and so the bowls you're actually not relying on the arc of the bowl.
Yeah, you remove green from the equation, don't you?
Or you play with more just overdraw weight, and I think playing that in between weight, as we've seen, not necessarily far away, but just not getting the contact that you need. So let's see if that comes into consideration for Robin and Lee. In the meantime, this player, Ling Q, lead for the St Heliers team, former Australian Open Women's Fours champion, and a well-performed player in New Zealand, representative level for both Bowls Auckland and Bowls North Harbour. She is the person calling the tune.
Yep, she's just playing very, very well, very steady. Of course, St Heliers is another club. I know we're broadcasting from Remuera, and we'll talk a bit about that as the day goes on, because it's a club with a proud history and one of the first clubs in Auckland. St Heliers has got a pretty cool history as well as a club, and they run an event called the Keys Fours that I've played in on a couple of occasions, and I think it's named after a guy, as an LJ Keys. I think he was one of our first Commonwealth Games medalists.
Okay.
Maybe the men's fours in the 30s.
Yep, that sounds right. He might have been playing with I think Whitaker and Jury and Bremner, I think, might have been the other.
What I really should have done is
team.
Googled it before I relied on my memory there, Brett. But it's a cool event, and they play, it's 2-day fours, and you play your first day, and then they split the field in half. So you've got post-section that has your 8 teams, and then everyone else sort of plays off in a second thing. A very good fours event that the St Heliers club runs.
Well, here we have the metronome, Ling Q.
Look at this.
Really, really showing why she's regarded as one of the better leads in the women's game in New Zealand. Two really good first bowls, and right now Lee Singer needs to start tightening up. Otherwise, this game's going to start to escape them, and she's close here.
Very close here from Lee. It's a better way to miss, though. Little toucher on running through. But I think we'll start seeing that just with Lee's bowls. She's had a reasonable green and played some very good bowls, but it's just about, if you miss, you're better to miss heavy, particularly when you're trailing. So you have 2 bowls past the head and you're down on the head, it's fine, because your skip can play a nice positive bowl through. But if you're a couple down on the head and some on the card and you've got no back bowls, you have to almost, you don't waste a bowl, but you have to spend a bowl first to get position before you can attack, and the percentages just reduced a little there as we see Ling, 3 bowls, same weight, exactly the same,
and probably a testament to her determination. She was annoyed with that bowl because I think she knew she had good speed, but she'd just gone a little bit wide. But in the context of the game, that's again two if not 3 shots that she's holding, and Lee Singer just pulling up short here, and the pressure again is on Robin Fisher. To be recovering, and it's not that Robin Fisher isn't capable of doing it. Far from it. She's proven time and time again in the last couple of years what a good player she is. But it just makes the game a lot harder.
Yeah, that is the challenge. And we'll see what she can manage here. You feel at 12-4 now would be a very good end to score on for Lee and Robin. We spoke about 5 points being the gap that they'd want, and this is no. you don't want this gap in a final.
No, I think the moment you start to get more than 6 behind, given that that's a maximum number of shots you can score in pairs, starts to feel like it can be a bit tricky. But
Absolutely.
we are only on N9, so we're almost at halfway of this game, and so let's see what Robin Fisher's got in store for us. Catherine Bean swapping over onto the backhand, having played a lot of bowls down the forehand side in this direction, and she's just going to come up a little short.
Can tell you, if you look to the right of your screen, well, look to the right. If you remember what your screen looked like a few seconds ago, you can see the adjacent rink. There we go. The adjacent rink has there's Nick Thompson there from the Point Chef Club. That game is 10-6 to Billy Fulton and Tony Garelja after 10 ends of their scheduled 18 in the four pairs final. Look at this here from Robin Fisher.
Ooh.
That's a very good shot. She's close to one. That's brilliant.
What a great bowl. What a great recovery. And, real discipline just to knuckle down with that first bowl and draw a close shot.
It's the sort of shot that that's what the skips are there for, isn't it? It's a great bowl. You're taking a head that was looking not very good and a card that has looked better.
Absolutely.
And giving yourself a chance to score on this end and then kick on from there.
Good bowl from Robin. Catherine Bean again. She'll be down the backhand side. I suspect she may still have the shot, but let's see. Let's see how she's playing this.
If she doesn't, she might do very shortly.
She's in close proximity here. Look at this bowl. Here it comes. Turns it up. Well, no, I think it's definitely one to Robin now. So everything for Catherine Bean to play for there.
You'd stay on the forehand if you're Robin.
Absolutely.
You'd stay on the. Oh. Okay. Must feel like it's a more natural act to play. Robin Fisher holding one.
Yeah, maybe a little bit worried about making a target of it on that other hand.
Yeah.
Not sure.
She falls short here. I mean, this is not what she was looking to play, but she's actually blocked up. She's blocked the backhand side, I suppose, if we're looking for positives.
Catherine Bean with her last bowl and Ling Q saying, look, you can draw down there, plenty of room. Touch on the shot bowl isn't bad for us. We've got a lot of other bowls around it, so let's see what sort of weight Catherine plays.
Beautiful delivery, so smooth out of her hand. Every bowl in with a chance.
If she's got the speed, she's going to hold for the bowl. Does she hold for the bowl? Yes, she does, and she gets it onto the jack.
That was near perfection, wasn't it?
Beautifully played. Still 1-2 to Royal Oak, but in the context of this game, the St Heliers team keeping it nice and tight.
Robin Fisher would dearly love to draw a bonus shot here.
Yeah, every bowler is going to be important when they have an opportunity to add when you're 8 shots behind.
She's got the weight right. She may get the turn.
She's on a very good line. Is she going to make it?
Go. Oh, she had the right weight. Look at that beautiful weight, but just on the wide side.
Well, it falls down, but it still looks to me like just the one. One it is to Royal Oak. So Robin Fisher and Lee Singer, they've got to 5. And at the halfway point in this game, as we commence end 10, we have Catherine Bean and Ling Q from the St Heliers Club leading Robin Fisher and Lee Singer from the Royal Oak Club by 12 shots to 5 in this final of the Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs.
Interesting, you feel from now Lee and Robin, and we see a longer end here, which is, we expected to see a change. Lee and Robin having scored again against a head that didn't look very good. Robin had to play a really good shot. They'll want to try and go back-to-back ends. You're still not at the point of the game where you feel like you need multiples if you are Robin and Lee, but it's just about scoring end after end after end. We can see they're 7 down. There's 9 ends to go, including this one. So 1 an end, they'd win by a couple. So you just got to try and score end after end. And Robin Fisher picking up that bowl of Lee Singer's. That's just gone into the ditch there. And Ling Q now on the mat. Just a reminder, of course, that there will be broadcasts of the Auckland men's fours final and the men's triples final as well later on today, and they're on different links, so don't stay on this YouTube link because you'll just watch a replay of the women's pairs unless you want to watch want to watch a replay of the women's pairs, which is fine. But if you want to see the men's fours final and the men's triples final, just have a nosy at the channel, the Bowls Auckland channel, or go to the Bowls Auckland Facebook page or the Bowls New Zealand Facebook page, and there's a post there with a link to all 3 games, so you can check them out at your heart's content. The men's fours final, of course, next, and the triples final last. And what a great correction here from Lee Singer. Front toucher.
Great bowl. So does this mark the beginning of the revival?
It may do when we look back on this game. It may do, and it's a good correction, particularly because Lee's first bowl never really looked like staying on the rink. And I see Lee sorting the bowls out here. I wonder if Catherine will switch them over when she gets down to the other end. But a good shot there from Lee with her second one.
So there you are. So that's probably the loosest bowl we've seen from Ling Q in recent ends in this final. So maybe this is the change. Slightly longer end from the Royal Oak team, and it's Lee Singer with a front toucher, and that's a pretty good second bowl as well.
And you'd think that from this, Lee and Robin's plan will now be long ends, wouldn't you? You'd think, well, they've gone. This is the first really good end we've had in a while. May as well continue to go long for as long as we get the jack.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said earlier, Alex, you have to do something to change the game up. You know, when you're behind, you can't just keep playing the same.
Oh, Ling Q.
Wow, what a
Look
recovery.
at this.
What a recovery bowl.
Oh, where's the jack?
So
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
It's okay.
So second shot, and certainly a good opportunity now for Robin Fisher to come to add. Any movement of the jack is okay. Let's see what the Royal Oak skipper's got in store for us.
So we see Robin. She's played some key bowls. I mean, I think if not for Robin's draw bowl on the previous end, we'd be looking at maybe a 15-4 scoreline, which is much less recoverable than the 12-5 scoreline we see at the moment. And this is a pretty good track. Brett just down to the weight.
Line. I think she's going to be close. Going to be very close. Just pulls up short.
I mean, what you would do for a curling room sometimes in bowls, just that 3 or 4 more revolutions.
Absolutely. Ling Q saying to Catherine Ben, look, come over on the other hand. We're only one down. Yes, it'll be good to get the shot, but also we don't want to turn that bowl of Robin Fisher's up.
Yeah.
This, showing the experience, playing the board. At 12-5, they went in front. Catherine Ben just a little wide and a little heavy here, but she won't be unhappy about getting a bowl around the back.
Of course, the St Heliers club as well as the Royal Oak club. Oh, just it's interesting. That kept going, didn't it? I wonder. That's interesting. We just should keep an eye on that as the bowls track towards the ditch, whether perhaps it's not quite, as you say, a new green sometimes isn't quite settled. It may be that it's a little bit downhill with a couple of feet to go before the ditch, and Robin Fisher making her correction. Or trying to make her correction. She's got the right line. How's your weight, Robin? Just agonisingly short there.
Yeah, she won't want to be there when you're behind. You really want to make sure that you're reaching the head. But easier said than done. It is the longest end we've played in this direction, and so there'll be a bit of an adjustment to make.
And we are seeing, to be fair, a more consistent end here from the Royal Oak team than we've seen for a while. If we look at the sort of disposition of this head, there's 2 St Heliers bowls, and everything else is sort of, it looks like Royal Oak stuff. So that's an end that will give them a little bit of, what's the word, confidence as they go forward. If they can hold on to the shot here, of course. Third time lucky here for Robin Fisher, picking the gap. That's brilliant.
She's got a great bowl here.
What
well
a shot,
played.
what a bowl. What do you do now, Brett?
Yeah, well, it's
ugly, isn't it?
Yeah, this ditch side, if we can call it that, of this rink to me looks a bit slower, Alex. The bowls don't seem to be having quite the same finish, and we've just seen them holding out a little bit. So Catherine Bean bringing in the line this time, and she's on a good line here. Very close here. She's going to get a touch. No, she doesn't.
Good try.
Sails through. So that's 2 to Royal Oak. So the comeback is 2 ends old. It's now 12-7 to the St Heliers pair over Robin Fisher and Lee Singer from Royal Oak. And we've got a game on our hands.
If you're a Royal Oak supporter, this is good signs because that was a good head. It never really looked like Royal Oak was not going to score a point, and they managed to get 2. So we'll see a long end again, and let's just see how this progresses. But interesting times here at Remuera Bowling Club.
Absolutely, and again, Lee Singer is long with the jack. I don't mean long in an unfortunate way, but she out past the 2 metre mark, and so almost maximum length end. And does this become the turning point, tactically, and get Royal Oak truly back into this match? So let's see what Lee can do with her first one here. She's on a pretty good line here. It'll hold a little bit as it gets the 2 metre mark, and that's not a bad start. Handy and behind, little tight, but gives us definitely something to work from and something to work to.
And missing past. And of course we are here, we've mentioned it, at the Remuera Bowling Club. I can tell you, Brett, because I did my research for this, unlike the Keys tournament, which just popped into my brain. It was founded in 1895, which I think would make it in probably the first 10 to 20 bowling clubs in New Zealand. I know Auckland Bowling Club predates everyone by about 30 years, and then the rest of the bowling clubs sort of turned up in the 1890s. So 1895, and it was the Remuera Bowling and Lawn Tennis Club, and that lawn tennis name stayed for 1 year, and then it was dropped, and they just called themselves a bowling club. 20 members initially, and it's got a long and proud history. And look at this from Ling Q. It took her 1.5 ends of 2 metre to 2 metre to draw a touch out. That's not a bad adjustment.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Side toucher from Ling Q, and now it's Lee Singer, who has skipped Robin Fisher, just saying, look, get me one close. Better line here as it starts to break towards the head, and that's a nice reply from Lee Singer.
Look at this.
Does it get there? Yes,
that's amazing.
That's
what a shot.
Ball.
Still one down, but good bowl, she said, and I think we found Lee's length here.
Absolutely.
Really going toe-to-toe for Ling on this longer end. I was just about to say that Remuera must be coming up to its 125th year, but 1895, it's past that, and my perception of time's gone all wrong, Brett.
Yeah, look, isn't that a great tradition? And it's wonderful that this club isn't just still here, but modernised with this magnificent indoor facility and the other amenity. In what is, I think we will call it Central Auckland, Tamaki Makaurau, and great to see so many people from around the Bowls Auckland fraternity who are here today supporting the Bowls Auckland Centre Finals Day.
Absolutely.
Great second bowl from Ling Q. That's she gets applause from her skip, just around behind, a good third shot, good catcher, with St Heliers holding one here as Lee Singer plays her third and final bowl on this 11th end of the 18 end women's
How's the weight,
pairs
Brett?
final. She's close again. She's close again.
Get
I'm
the
not
curling
sure
broom.
she's going to make it. We definitely needed the curling broom.
Yeah, as a player, that's so gutting because when you let it go, you think, well, I've got the line right. Do I have the weight? And then it just pulls up that little bit short. Bowls is it's a game of fine margins. It wouldn't feel that much different to add that metre on.
No, great effort from Lee Singer there, and she's given her skip Robin Fisher something to play to. But here's another good bowl from Ling Q, just dropping in that catching zone in behind.
So I suppose, what's Robin's bowl? Because the challenge we have here, if you are Royal Oak, is that Ling's put 3 bowls past the head in a pretty good space. You're only one down if you're Robin. So on one hand you think, one down's fine. But on the other hand, you think we've finally set our own length. Do you try and score a point?
Yeah, I think your first question is, do you know you're going to need a bowl past the jack? That's somewhere where those 3 bowls of lings are. So do you get that bowl with your first bowl and then play a shot to try and turn the jack back, or do you play the shot first and then play to wherever you manage to move the jack to? I think I'd be inclined to draw if I was Robin and just try and draw to that white bowl on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, the one sitting at 6 o'clock.
If you're narrow, you might turn up Lee's shorter bowl, but really you need a bowl behind, and then you've got some options to play for. So let's see what Robin does. She's definitely on the backhand side, so I think she'll be trying to draw down there and look at just getting another bowl on the head, but behind it, and that'll give her something to play to. And she's played this pretty well. She just gets past that bowl
Clean
of Lee's.
run.
She does.
Oh, well, unlucky.
Still a good spot. She's so you can see her bowl there. She's now got to catch on that side of the head, which is important because that's the only
good shot.
That's the only way the jack's going to go, and now gives her a chance to consider playing a shot. She doesn't have to, of course. She could just decide to keep drawing. And Catherine Bairn, she'll be looking to just get down on that side herself, just try and get one proximate to the jack, but she won't be happy with this. This is narrow.
It's ineffective. I mean, if Robin's brave, you're on your backhand, play the Lee's bowl at 12 o'clock. The jack we know is going in the 5 o'clock direction. It should miss the 6 o'clock bowl. It'll be interesting.
That last bowl of Catherine Bairn's is slightly in the way, I think, on that hand. And so we see Robin still playing on her backhand, and she's close here.
This is good stuff here from Robin Fisher.
She's close here.
She may have drawn the shot here, Brett.
She's very close.
If it sits down, it could be 2.
It's very close.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Magnificent bowl. I mean, really...
Great camera angle there, by the way, guys.
Thank you, team. And so you can clearly see the white bowl of Ling Q still holds one shot for the St Helier pair.
My only question would be if they can actually afford, Robin and Lee have done well to claw themselves back to 5 down. They found their length. Can the Royal Oak team afford to drop a point? Oh,
well,
has it shuffled over? It may have shuffled over. Bowls skid on the carpet. Can we get the top angle back, please?
Yeah, it is. It is an interesting point on carpet. Sometimes those bowls can just be slightly moved.
I reckon it's skidded. Imagine if they're holding one now. That's a slice of, it's a slice of hell if you're the St Heliers team, because, like I was trying to say, I think 1 point for St Heliers is very good in this final.
I think it's still 1 to St Heliers, not seeing
no indication.
Anyone, and no one seems to be standing over it and looking to see who's got the shot. So let's assume that Ling still has that shot, and now it's Robin Fisher having a look. She could play it on the backhand and look to see if she can punch the bowl of Lee Singers onto the shot bowl without moving the jack. That's definitely an option. She could play the forehand and look to try and punch the bowl of Lee Singers onto the jack, but and that's definitely on. So
the way Lee's standing, it's almost like that we're going to see Robin draw on the backhand, see if she can sit her red bowl down towards the bias side.
And I just wonder whether that bowl of Catherine Bairn's, the short bowl, whether that
it'll be right in the line, won't it, for the nice weight.
It'd force you to play. That's right. It'd force you to play quick, and she probably doesn't really want to play that. She's only one down.
Look at the way she's using her mat here on the backhand side, so trying to get all the late turn that she can out of this bowl. Robin Fisher, she's got the weight. She's in the area.
Yep, definitely in the area here, Alex. It starts to break now.
Just needs to get the outside half of the red. It's not going to be. I think we'll see this bowl. Well, it won't be played towards the head, will it?
Yep, Lin Q says we'll just take one.
We're not even giving Catherine the chance to play the bowl.
You're not going to get a chance to play that. And at 13-7, we can see the St Heliers team just back on the board, which they'll be pleased about.
It's interesting that she didn't deliver her bowl. I've sort of come around personally with my bowls and my thinking in regards to throwing away a bowl in indoor and outdoor, because when I was a bit younger, I used to go, well, I don't want to make the head any worse, I'll just walk the bowl up.
Yep.
But I've since come to the conclusion after watching some people, it's actually quite a good idea to practice a block, or you can draw to a point on the bowl, because you only get allocated X amount of bowls in a game. It feels a shame to waste them sometimes, Brett.
Yes, now immediately we see a change of tactics, or a change of length, and that is because St Heliers are liking the shorter ends. Just saw newly minted Tongan international Liam Hill is in the house. So Liam's obviously going to be one of the players featuring in the finals today.
Yeah, so tell us more.
Nice way from her mother Kirsty as she
smiles
comes
all
in.
Around,
and great to see so many bowlers, competitive and social, gathering here at the Remuera Bowling Club today for the Bowls Auckland Centre.
They've questioned how short it is, but while we wait for the umpires to do that, you said Tongan International. We've heard a couple of mentions of it so far, Brett. Can you talk us through, what do you mean, and what's the event that they're going to be playing in?
Thank you, Alex. In my capacity on the World Bowls Board, I've been on that board since August 2021, and one of the pieces of feedback I got from the Pacific countries was that they wanted to see a regional event for bowls. Bowls has been a discipline in the Pacific Games, but it's only played when the Pacific Games, which is a multi-sport event, is hosted in a country that has bowls. And for the next two times, it's in Honiara and Palau, and they don't have bowls at this stage. So we've put together a new event. It's called the Digicel Oceania Challenge, and it's great that that's going to be hosted in Auckland, Tamaki Makaurau, by World Bowls in partnership with Bowls New Zealand and Bowls Auckland and the Blockhouse Bay Bowling Club. And that's going to be at Blockhouse Bay from the April the 14th to the 17th, with our opening ceremony on the 13th. And we're delighted to have 10 countries from Oceania playing in that, including Tonga. And we have, because it's in New Zealand, we have an Aotearoa Māori team making their debut at international level, which is just fantastic. We've also got Tokelau, newest development member of World Bowls, also fielding a team made up of Tokelauans living here in New Zealand. And so it's going to be a real festival of bowls. Delighted to have Digicel, one of the major mobile phone carriers in the Pacific, as our sponsor, and we've had great support from the Blue Waters Community Trust, and a real team effort between Bowls New Zealand, Bowls Auckland, World Bowls and Blockhouse Bay in pulling this together. So it's going to be a great event. Wonderful bowl there from Lee Singer, just turns her first bowl over to hold shot, and it's 1-2 Royal Oak, and we have a great mix of players. We've got players, we've got teams like Papua New Guinea and Niue and Fiji and Norfolk Island, made up of players that are based in and located in their countries. We've got teams like Tokelau and Tonga and Samoa, where I think there's a blend of players from both the island nation, but also based here in New Zealand. We've got a New Zealand under-26 team there, and with some pretty exciting talent to have a look at. Men's and women's discipline, World Bowls format, so singles and fours and pairs and triples, and that will culminate in the finals day. Great bowl here from Lee Singer.
Oh, Lee Singer.
Wow.
We thought that she was better on the long ends, but she's maybe just clicked into gear on both, and this is good stuff from the Royal Oak combination.
So we'll have the gold and bronze medal games featured on the 17th of April. We're going to play all of those games on that day, with Bowls New Zealand kindly providing streaming for that, and that's immediately after the National Interclub.
That's right.
So, and we'll have some other streaming activity of the earlier games, but the full commentary suite will be on the 17th of April,
Look at this.
Here
Look
we've
at
got
this.
Catherine Bean searching down here on the backhand side. Does she get anything? She gets the hole.
Isn't it incredible how a bowl can... she looked at that in disbelief. A bowl can travel 25, 30 metres and find a bowl-sized gap so often.
And if you tried to deliberately put a bowl down that gap, you'd probably get the jack or a bowl on the way through.
Sometimes what happens is you think, oh, I'll go the gap that isn't there and I'll hit something, and then you go the gap that isn't there. Which can be incredibly disappointing. Will she do the same again, do you think, Brett, or is she a change of Ling indicating that she wants to change her weight here from Catherine anyway?
Doesn't want it that heavy, and now Robin Fisher's put a back bowl in, so there's not the immediate conversion that you'll get. So Catherine being down more of an overdraw weight, and she's close here. This is very close from Catherine Bean. That's a magnificent bowl. That is a magnificent bowl. Controlled weight, exactly what Ling Q, her lead, asked for.
Never looked like missing, did it?
And that's at least a 3-shot turnaround, 2 down to 1 up. And now it's Robin Fisher, who will be searching down on that backhand side, looking for the shot bowl or for some movement on the jack.
On the backhand, she's wide, I think.
Yeah, and that's where there's just that little straightener, or maybe the bowls just hold a little more on that side, as we've seen. So
I can tell you, Brett, that the men's pairs final is 13-6 after 13 ends to Tony Garelja and Billy Fulton. I think Tony going for, he must be up to 11 or 12 centre titles. He got to 10 when he beat me in a singles, which is why I remember how many he's on, but he must be on 11 or 12. He's evergreen, isn't he, Tony Garelja?
He is, very famous West Auckland family, descendants from Croatia, and involved in the horticulture business out in there. I think a lot of their land is now what's known as the Westgate Shopping Centre, is on some of their former land. And yeah, Tony, very consistent player for many years, playing out of.
Could get a good result if it holds a little bit.
She gets the result. She gets
the jack as well.
Well, that's 1 to Robin Fisher, 1 to Royal Oak, and we're out of bowls. That was the last bowl, so that's very fortuitous.
Everyone was just looking for the next bowl to turn up.
I think Catherine Bean was probably wishing she had one more bowl, because I think she had 2 or 3 seconds there, but unfortunately she's out of ammunition. And at this stage, that just keeps the Royal Oak combination in the game.
That 5 point, it's about that 5 points. We see a replay here of Robin Fisher's bowl. Look, she gets this absolutely perfect edge and in, guts is the jack. Robin will be very pleased with that result.
Yeah, she'll be very pleased her bowl stayed with the jack, because it would have been unfortunate. And look, they're 5 behind, but we've got we're on end 13 of 18 ends in this final of the Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs, and there's still a game to be had here. With both teams playing so well, and here's a reasonable opener from Lee Singer. It's just going to pull up slightly short, but that's a pretty good opener for the Royal Oak team. In fact, came a lot further than I thought on that turning side. So she's ended up about jack level or jack high, depending which country you're in, Alex.
Oh, I learned that just my little brain. I was talking. I had an Australian commentate with me on day 1, and we had that conversation.
I watched the commentary, and I recalled when I first played in Australia, and my skip kept telling me I was jack high, and I thought maybe my eyes were deceiving me, and they were, because jack high in Australia is what we would describe as jack level here in New Zealand.
And if you're a New Zealand singles player and you're over there, I would make sure that you understand exactly what that means from the market.
And great to see Tony Grantham, fresh from his success in the multi-nations.
Given that I'm playing Tony in the 4s, I'm not too happy to see him, Brett. I wouldn't have minded if he'd stayed on the other side of the Tasman.
Tony and his teammate Randall Watkins, part of the Mount Albert 4s team, along with Zoran Bartulovic and Niven Gregicevic, and they will be playing Aidan Takarua, Alex Reid, Colin Williams, and Harry Davis.
Yeah,
and that will be
you've nailed it, Brett.
That's the next televised game here at this Bowls Auckland Centre finals. But back to the women's pairs final, and it's Ling Q with her second bowl of this 13th end. Ling and her partner Catherine Bean leading 13-8 over Robin Fisher and Lee Singer. But Ling will be disappointed with that. She hasn't played a lot of bowls on that side of the rink. She's tended to play the forehand side, and I'm not actually sure why she's not playing it on this end.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting in the context of this game. I think we saw Lee played well in the first, well, she's played well the entire time. She matched Lang for the first 3 or 4 ends. Then we had that run of maybe 4 or 5 ends where Hallier's got to their 13-ish or so points. Now Lee again matching, if not outplaying Ling. Look at this. This is 3 good bowls here from Lee Singer. And that's how you change a game around.
Absolutely. Now Catherine Bean says to Ling Q, come on, over onto the forehand side. Her last bowl probably in the road or certainly in the eye on that side. And so Ling swaps over to the forehand side, and let's see what she can do with her third bowl of this 13th end. Looks a little tight to me as it comes down, but she's got pretty good weight.
Willing it to hold.
Does she hold for the jack? Does she hold for the jack? No, she doesn't.
And now, I think, on the crossover, this is almost the first time we've seen Robin holding a 3 and a massive end. They're only trailing by 5 here, and that we spoke about you want to keep it at about 5 points until you get to the last 2 or 3 ends if you are a trailing team.
Absolutely.
This is a really important end for the Royal Oak combination. You want to make hay. You know, you're holding 3 on the crossover. You'd expect to score a multiple here if you can hold on to it. You'd be looking for, probably if you're optimistic, a 3 here for the Royal Oak team to bring it to 11-13.
Absolutely. We talk about pivotal ends in a game, and I'm going to call this as one of those, Alex.
Yep.
I'm going to call this that the winner of this end, I'm not going to say they're going to win the game, but this will determine whether Royal Oak can stay back in this end or not. Holding 2 here, and here's a pretty good bowl from Robin Fisher if she's got enough weight to get around there.
What a shame there's a bowl on the way.
Absolutely. Played 3 very good bowls down that side the last time in this direction. So now Catherine Bean, a little bit of a deep breath there and into her work on that forehand side. Beautiful technician, just a really nice, steady, consistent action. And she's close here. She's very close here.
This is good. Oh, it's still running. It's still running. And still holding 2 there, but that's a good first bowl from Catherine. If you think about the correction she needs to make, it's minimal.
Absolutely. Wouldn't want to be short. Gave herself a chance of sitting a bowl or the jack. Robin Fisher just checking that she's got the shot, and she does. She comes over onto that right-hand side of the mat so she can try and just find a bit of an arc around those bowls. She'll be looking to try and get to the black bowl of Catherine Beans.
Very close if she's got the weight.
She's played this very well. That's a great bowl. Well done, Robin Fisher. That's third shot and a catcher, and
that's a good end.
I'm going to call it, this is the pivotal one.
Pivotal end here.
So what can Catherine Bean do? Close with her first. Again, beautiful smooth delivery out on that forehand side. I think she's tighter here.
She is.
I think she's tighter. It'll all come down to weight and whether it'll hold in there.
If the bowl goes for a little walk.
Well,
now, what do you do if you're Robin Fisher here, Brett?
Beautiful speed there. Yep. Lee's saying, come on. Hop over onto the forehand side and see if you can drop one right on top.
Robin just taking her time.
Put the pressure on.
See the crowd enthralled. All of them Royal Oak, really. I think they're all Royal Oak supporters. I can see, we've got Janine and the 2 Royal Oak shirts to the right of her.
Absolutely.
I feel like the guy in the middle is a board member. He might have been the president of Hillsborough.
I think you're right. And this is a pretty good bowl here from Robin.
Very close here from Robin.
She's going to be close. Now, she may not count there, but it is in an awkward spot.
You call it mud in the eye, eh? That's how we describe that. And
so Ling Q just saying to Catherine Bean, now come on, come down on that side.
Lee knows it's a pivotal end too. You can see her pacing in the background.
Yep.
If Royal Oak can hold on to a couple of points here, it's all on.
It sure is. So Ling Q just measuring with her fingers there, just to get an idea of how many down. We're definitely 2 down, I think.
Must be a commentator's thing, but I've never met anyone who understands how the finger measure. What do you think of the finger measures, Brett? I don't understand. I wouldn't be able to do it myself, so I don't understand. I don't understand it.
I guess it's a guide. I prefer just to use
Just
my eyes
yeah.
and just use my sight. But then I think, as you and I may have discussed before, when you play a lot of indoor bowls, you're kind of used to your eyes. I guess the fingers give you a bit of a guide. I've used it a couple of times with sort of longer measures.
Yeah.
But for the shorter ones, I tend to just rely on my eyes.
Massive end.
Royal Oak holding 2.
Is she winding up, or is that just a pre-shot?
That's just a pre-shot routine, I think. So on the forehand side, and it's on the draw.
I was going to say, what's the hit?
No, she's missed her line again here.
Willing it to walk.
She just gets underneath that bowl, but she's got
too
much weight. Well, that was 3 narrow bowls from Catherine Bean there, which would be the first time she's missed her line, I think, in the game on the draw, certainly on that hand. Out come 2 bowls, and the pivotal end is on.
Absolutely.
So definitely 2 to Royal Oak is going to get them to 10, and we're measuring now for that third shot. The reddish bowl of Royal Oak in the Royal Oak colours, and the black bowl of Catherine Beans there, just underneath the head. It looks like that. So Catherine's was third shot, so that's 2 to Royal Oak. And suddenly this game is tightened up at 13-10 to Catherine Bean and Ling Q.
They've managed it well, haven't they, the Royal Oak team?
They have
managed this game well, stayed within Kui.
Now, where will they go with the jack here, Alex? Do they go long again?
I would expect to see a long end, although, no, I'd expect to see a long end. I know they played well on the short one, but I think both Royal Oak and St Heliers played well on the short ends. Although, no, I've contradicted myself because that end Royal Oak didn't. I don't know, Brett. I don't have an answer. Yep. I think they'll just throw the jack and hope.
Alex, I'm just going to go for a wander and have a look at some of those other scores.
Yes, please.
I'll be back in a second.
So we see Lee Singer leading off on the forehand side. St Heliers were comfortably in front. I think leading by 8 points at one stage. Now leading by 3. So if you're a Royal Oak supporter, that's good news. And Lee Singer here, what a good first bowl. 13-10 the score, so 3 the difference. 4 ends to go after this being the 14th end of 18. Presume it's no time limit as it's a final. Although I did press the button to start them. So who knows, I suppose we'll find out. And Ling Q on the forehand side, following Lee down. Good day of finals here at Remuera. What a good shot there from Ling Q. And just a reminder, if you are tuning in, firstly, thank you for tuning in. If you want to find more content from Bowls Auckland as they broadcast over the next season or 2, please click the subscribe button. You'll see a subscribe button. Doesn't cost any money. That just means that you'll get notified, particularly if you click the bell when Bowls Auckland is going live. And Lee Singer, reasonable bowl, second and third shot. And also the other thing to note is that we have different links for every game played today. So this is the women's pairs final. There's a different link for the men's fours final, which is coming up next. And then a different link again for the men's triples final, which is coming up last. And the best place to find that is the Bowls Auckland Facebook page or the Bowls Auckland website. Go to either of those and you'll find those links there, and you can have a whole day of watching this Bowls Auckland finals day. Ling Q, this is good stuff on this longer end. Look at this leading from these two. You've got 4 bowls within a mat. And Lee Singer, gee, oh, that was so close. 3 good bowls, though. 3 good bowls, but St. Heliers are going to be the one crossing over with a couple of shots here. It was Ling with the last bowl of the leads. You can see holding at least one to the white bowl that sits at 6 o'clock, or 7 o'clock to the jack, and looking to make it more than one. How's the weight? Not quite going to be. So we see on the crossover, St. Heliers holding the shot. Royal Oak with second shot to the bowl that sits at 8 o'clock to the jack. And you would expect Robin's first bowl to be on the backhand side, which is to the right of our screen. Just trying to draw one as close as she can. What have you got to report, Brett?
Well, there's some great bowls going on in there, Alex. I think just looking at this new surface, we can see that, I think the players are really enjoying it. And you're really enjoying the fact that they're getting a lot more turn out of the bowls. So, yeah, pretty high standard across all of the rinks. And, a lot of people here, obviously some people preparing for some of the other finals later in the day, but also spectators. So great to see the bowling fraternity in Auckland, Tamaki Makaurau out in force. Robin Fish will be a little disappointed with that bowl.
You wonder if she perhaps had 2 or 3 different shots in her head there, and you sort of end up playing not much of anything.
And it is the more difficult of the two sides of the rink, particularly coming in this direction to play. And, giving Catherine Bean a free hit here down on that forehand side. And she looks like, she's had another shot. Big clap from Catherine, from Ling Q.
Robin will just try and draw this. You would think they've done so much work, hard work to get back to within 3 points.
Yeah, great to have 3 catches, but really right now they need a second shot just to try and consolidate the end. So Robin again on her forehand, and again she's playing with reaching weight, and I'm not sure she's going to get a contact here.
Going to need a miracle of some description.
Definitely better weight than the first, but that's another miss. You're 3 down.
Yeah, and you can see the green was pinched, and you wonder sometimes as a bowler, your mind drifts back. And earlier on the second or third end, we saw Robin play 2 or 3 run shots that just drifted wide.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that plays into your mind, and you think, well, I was robbed earlier on in the game. I'll take a tight line, and then you see that bowl come across the head.
And having missed last time with 3 bowls, Catherine Bean's not missing this time.
No, good stuff from Catherine.
That's a cracker.
So stay on your backhand, Robin.
So Robin says, I'll just play into them. So that's on the forehand side. So she's obviously decided that she's going to play down there. It's a little more consistent and just look for a contact. A couple of people moving just in the background there as some more spectators arrive here at Remuera.
So Robin looking for aggression here.
Just having a bit of just resetting herself. Experienced player. Won't bother her. Right, on the forehand. Looking to probe down there. I think she's tight, but
it's holding.
She's tight. She's holding, but she's holding for Ling Q's bowl. This could be a disaster for...
Oh, goodness gracious me. And there's a bowl to come.
This could be full count, Alex. This could be the full count here. Ling Q just saying to Catherine Bean,
2 rolls on that blue bowl.
Yep, draw to the blue bowl. It's definitely 3 to St. Heliers. This is
what an end.
Yeah, this is the end from hell for Royal Oak. Catherine Bean just starting to break in now.
She sits it down the wrong way.
Just starting to break in now.
Oh, says Ling.
Definitely 3, I think.
1
outcome. Yes, that's 2.
And then the black bowl at 7 o'clock would be the 3rd shot.
That's 3rd.
And maybe just the 3, perhaps. But a disappointing end from Royal Oak. They've done so much good work to get themselves back within 3 points. And just you blink for one end. You barely blink. Lee played 3 good bowls.
She did.
And it's just turned around again on them. And more work to do now for the Royal Oak team. It's going to be at least a 16-10 deficit. I think it will be just 16-10 as well.
Yep. 3 it is. So probably as bad ends go, not as catastrophic as it might have been, particularly if Catherine Bean had turned that bowl out with her last. But nevertheless, it's a tidy 16-10 lead now for Catherine Bean and Ling Q. We've played 14 of the 18 ends, so starting end 15. And let's see, I'm expecting we'll see a return to shorter ends.
Absolutely.
From Ling and Catherine.
It's sort of the run home now, isn't it? You've got 4 ends to go, including this one. So realistically, if you're playing well, there's maybe 8 points to score for one team or the other. If you think maybe 2 or 3 points an end. So Robin and Lee, 6 points down, it's doable. Or we could see the last end not played. But there's sort of eight points of scoring left in this game, you would think.
I think we describe that as a medium end. And interestingly, after the challenges of the last end in this direction, Ling Q's back out on her forehand side, where she's drawn some great bowls in this final. And
a good decision. Potentially.
Pretty good line here, I think. She did drop it a little bit at release, but doesn't look like it's made any difference at the other end, because that's a great opener.
It's like a metronome, isn't she?
Yep. Overhead applause from the skip, and that's certainly
got to be a good sign.
Absolutely, and at this stage of the game, that's what you want out of your lead. But Lee Singer, she won't be outdone, and she's on a pretty good line herself.
She's matched Ling for the majority of this game. Just there was a few ends in the middle. Look at this here from Lee Singer. What a bowl! Great shot. Just a few ends in the middle. We saw St Heliers stretch out their lead. I think they got to an 8-point lead at one stage. A few ends in the middle where Ling Q was largely untroubled, you would say, sort of able to play her 3 bowls. But other than that, the first third and the last third of this game being well matched by Lee Singer, who is, of course, I think just a third-year outdoor bowler. So in the first Open final, performed well. Yeah,
I think you'd say Ling Q's been a little steadier. But then you'd expect that of someone who really is a specialist lead, and a specialist lead at the highest level in this game. Doesn't play international bowls, but certainly is playing regularly featured at national and into centre level.
Yeah, the top of the domestic game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we said right from the beginning that was going to be the challenge for Lee and Robin as a relatively newer pair to compete at that level. But certainly they've done it very well so far, and they're not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination. Holding one here on this 15th end of the Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Pairs final. And now it's Ling Q. Her skip saying, look, just get me another one close. And she's...
Beautiful delivery.
Yeah, very, very efficient, nice and tidy. And again, on a very, very good line here.
That's what she does so consistently. She's close to holding up enough as well.
Oh, that's a great bowl.
It's a lovely bowl.
That's a great bowl. Whether she's one up or one down, the impact of that bowl is it makes it very hard for Robin Fisher and Lee Singer to get.
Steve Campbell here, Brett.
Yes.
You remember Steve?
I do. I can remember Steve when he was a small child playing on indoor mats in Wellington with his, I think, late father, Peter Campbell, who was a very prominent indoor bowler in Wellington. And I can remember Stephen is probably about a 5 or 6 year old on the mats with his sister, having a little bit of a practice in between games, or when we were having a rest break in indoor bowls. And then turned into a very good player himself in the indoor game, and great to see him now playing outdoor bowls at Point Chev.
Yeah, Point Chev, yeah, 1 to 5 year player. Well.
And can I also, just while we're talking about Point Chev, just give a shout out to Terry Blackburn, who I know is a good friend of yours, Alex, but was just, I thought, magnificent in her debut, international debut in the para events at Multi Nations. I didn't get an opportunity to see the final, but it was good. It was good to see, her debut go so well with Julie O'Connell, and I think we've found a pretty competitive international pair there, building on the great work that Pam Walker and Linda Bennett and others have done over a period of time. So I thought that was great. So
Yeah, no, it was certainly good to see. I was very pleased with how that went, and long may it continue.
Yeah, well, we just see more and more of former indoor players like Stephen and Terry now featuring in the outdoor game, which is good to see.
And Robin looking to put a bowl past.
So it's 1 to Royal Oak with Catherine Ben. She'll be looking for some contact on Ling's bowls, turn them over, and just taking her time here. Yep, probing down on that forehand side. I think she's tight.
Yeah, it looks like it's going away.
They just turn pretty quick in the arc there, and you really have to keep them out. So played a little more attacking than I thought she might have. So it's obviously at the time of the game where even though you're only one down, you probably would ideally like to get the shot.
Particularly with the head as it sits, where we saw Ling play 2 good bowls. Catherine's got to put a good bowl at 8 o'clock or so, and Robin just playing the cover. So you're expecting the jack to move. It's got more chance of moving than not, so it's about putting bowls where the head might end up.
That's a good bowl from Robbins. So Ling Q just saying to Catherine, look, take a bit more green on that side. That's 4 narrow bowls she's played on that side, including the last end this way where she played 3 narrow bowls. So this time she's taken a bit more green, and in fact a lot more green, and she'll just swing by. But good weight. Finishes on the rink and gives them the backest bowl.
And they've taken the point. So we see one of Catherine's bowls on the ditch. So
yep,
11-16 on the 16th end now, or after 15. It's still alive.
So I would call that last bowl probably quite a safe bowl because they were only one down. Shouldn't really want to take the risk of turning the shot bowl onto the jack and potentially ending up 2 down. So good call from Ling. Just take your green, ensure that you don't we don't go any more than 1 down. 16-11, 3 ends to go. So if we were having a little flutter on the TAB, Alex, if there were odds on this game, you'd probably back the experience of Catherine Ben and Ling Q.
Yeah, you would.
But you wouldn't underestimate the fighting qualities of Robin Fisher and Lee Singer, because we've seen that time and time again in the last couple of years.
If you had a spare bit of money in your pocket, that's probably a good one to
absolutely
to chuck them on. Certainly, they've stayed well within that sort of 5-point buffer, and that's all you really need to be. Probably, if you can be maybe say 4 down on the last end, that's about right.
Good to see one of Auckland's young stars, David Motu, just enter the venue, and great to see that we're gonna be watching, hopefully in the finals, a bit of David in the Digicel Oceania Challenge. He's part of that very impressive New Zealand under-26 men's team of Taylor Horn, Seamus Curtin, Finbar McGuigan, and Tom Taiaroa. So great to see David Motu in that team, and to also see his good mate Liam Hill playing in the Tongan team, alongside Steve Hoft, who is playing in the men's centre pairs final here today, and Ben King, who plays out of the Wellington centre, and Ula Fusimalohi, who many people will know, a very, very well-known character in the Auckland centre, and Chris Smith, who's a Tongan player that plays out of the Remuera Club in Australia, so we can expect them to be pretty competitive.
One of the things I think is brilliant about this Oceania concept is that it is another space where there can be some proper bowls played. I think we sort of lack... Development is not a good enough word for it, because it's more than a development event. But we sort of lack that space for the players to compete internationally at a high level, and I'm looking forward to it becoming a regular fixture on the calendar, because I just can't see how it can possibly be bad for our countries or players, Brett.
Yeah, well, that's certainly how we see it, Alex. It's a great way of promoting the game and encouraging people from those islands to get international competition, and hopefully encourage some of their countrymen to also play bowls in Australia and New Zealand. Here's 2 great shots from Ling Q.
And Lee Singer, she's close. What a bowl, what a shot. Look at that. She's up for it, Brett.
She's absolutely up for it. That's the second end in a row where she's just played a magnificent bowl.
Brilliant.
Catherine Bean saying to Lin Q, stay on that hand. Obviously not wanting to get onto that more difficult side. We're only one down, and just come down and see if you can turn your bowl around the corner or just come past. So
we're approaching the pointy end two of the men's pairs just quickly, 15-8 to Billy Fulton and Tony Garelja after 16 ends. And I can see to the left of the screen, I think they nearly finished that end there. So we may have a winner shortly, depending on how the point chef team can go. And Link Q now clearing that bowl.
Magnificent bowl.
Just about perfect. Yeah, worth a clap.
Yeah, big clap from a skip. And again, similar to this last end.
Here's a replay. Let's look at that
tight.
bowl of Lee Singers. She couldn't have played this any better. Look at that.
Just magnificent. So again, we've got a similar scenario to the last 10. One to Royal Oak, a very tight bowl. But again, the challenge for Robin Fisher, the Royal Oak skippers, how can I get another one? In this case, she has got a chance. She can draw on either hand there quite safely.
Yeah.
I think she's going to opt for her backhand because there's a chance of turning that bowl of Lee Singers on the right-hand side of your screen to turn it over for another shot or just to sit on it.
I also wonder, Brett, what jacks they're using here, just as an aside note, because we saw Lee trail the jack a foot, and the jack stuck with the shot bowl quite nicely. Usually on an indoor rink, the jack's heavy. It'll spring away from the bowl. I wonder if it's a slightly lighter jack, perhaps.
Could be. So,
oh, just about a perfect little slide.
Yep, maybe just slightly lacking the weight, but beautiful line from Robin Fisher.
And again, Royal Oak is in a position where they will probably be expecting to score a one here.
Absolutely.
You know, we're going to need to see at least two very good bowls from Catherine to score the shot, because you need a moving bowl and then one to get it. Royal Oak will be expecting to be 4 down minimum on the penultimate end.
Catherine Bean looking like she's going to put a back bowl in first. Obviously feeling that, that's the danger if the jack is moved back.
Yeah, good shot.
Gives her now the chance to play with a little bit of attacking weight. So, there's a bit of the experience there. Only one down. Consolidate the situation by giving yourself an option to attack as Robin comes down on this backhand side. Does she get a slide? Yes, she does. Does she get second shot?
I think she has. So she'll be pleased with second shot, but it has created an opportunity for Catherine, I suppose, on her backhand side now. You can play heavier rather than short too, because
Absolutely.
if you clunk into the front bowl, the plant's popping the jack back.
Catherine Bean down on this backhand side. I don't think it's... Will it turn? Yes,
Oh,
here
I think
comes.
it will. I think
Here
it will.
Comes. Here it comes. Oh, magnificent
Beautiful.
bowl. What a classy bowl.
That was perfection there from Catherine Bean.
Yep, you just saw she got the weight right because the bowl started breaking early, and that's a top class bowl.
Same bowl here from Robin Fisher.
I imagine so. I mean, she's got everything to play to there. Sit the bowl. Jack movement is okay. They've got a bowl catching off to the side.
She's half a chance if she's got the weight right here, Robin Fisher.
I'm not sure she's here, Alex.
It's stepping out.
Here she comes. Does she get a slide? Yes, she does.
Oh, goodness gracious me. That's a little bit... I mean, she was lacking 3 feet of weight there, and it would have been absolute perfection.
Catherine Bean says, I'm very happy with one. I'm not going to play my last bowl, and who can blame her?
Let's have a look at that.
Just this is a really good controlled weight shot. Just down there, making contact with the head.
Beautiful.
Probably the perfect result, but when you're playing with that good weight and that sort of line, you give yourself every chance. And
yeah, absolutely.
It's probably the best weighted shot we've seen down that hand. We've seen players tend to play a little bit quick, and they've been holding. And this time it was really, just overdraw weight, looking for those contacts. So a really telling bowl at this stage of the game. 2 ends to go now in this final of the Bowls Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs.
Yeah.
And it's Catherine Bean and Lin Q Perhaps no surprise to many of the viewers to see them in front, but they've certainly had a battle royal on their hands.
Oh, they've had to work for it, and I mean it's been shown by the fact that we saw an 8-point lead, but Royal Oak hasn't really let them get more than 5 in front, and have got as close as 2 on 1 or 2 occasions.
Absolutely,
it's been a good game, and I mean still, there's a chance. You need to score a 3. The occasion's 2 threes. Two threes for Robin and Lee, and the only challenge is that on the second 3 you're not going to have last bowl, and we know how good Catherine is.
Yeah, look, it's at this stage, a lot of it will come down to experience, and having been in these game situations before. But the best thing that Lee Singer and Robin Fisher can do is draw shots.
Absolutely.
And put the pressure on. So sort of a metre short with her first bowl in queue, down on that forehand side that she's played so well in this game. Now, what can Lee Singer do? She's played some great bowls in the last few ends to help claw their way back, and she's close again here.
Yeah, she's finished strong in this game, Lee Singer. It's a good first bowl, a very good first bowl.
You know, for a newer player to the game, albeit with a lot of experience indoors, she has played very, very well, and I think every time I've seen her play, she finishes well. Doesn't seem to get too worried by the pressure. And Ling Q just asking them to close the entrance door. Obviously, just a little bit of outside noise and
Oh, are you talking too loudly, Brett?
bit of distraction. And now she's down on her forehand side, and uncharacteristically short again, but probably shot.
So Lee Singer now. Just taking her time. It's been an impressive display from these 2 Royal Oak players.
Absolutely, it has. They've, they're up against one of the better pairs in New Zealand, and they've been absolutely competitive all the way through. So I can measure for shot from our commentary position. What does Ling Q do with her third bowl?
On the forehand, she'll be desperately wanting this bowl just to run it out a little bit.
A little closer this time. Does she get past the front? She doesn't, but she turns it up, and that is definitely the shot. Here on the 17th end of the final. And Robin Fisher says to Lee Singer, swap over and you play that forehand side. See if you can come down, sit the bowl or trail the jack, and let's see what Lee has in store. She's close. She's very close here.
She's close here. Look at this from Lee Singer. What a bowl.
Magnificent. Possibly a little quicker than she had hoped for, because while it has trailed the jack back, it's trailed them a long way past her bowls. But look, at this stage of the game, they've got 3 shots, and it's over to Catherine Bean now to recover.
Put the pressure on. That's a great shot there from Lee.
Yep, as we've just been talking about, Lee and Robin are great fighters, and they're gonna be big.
Oh, look at this, Brett. Absolutely plumb. Got it
just
square.
Magnificent.
If she'd been half a bowl wider, the jack probably would have locked on the 2 blues. So she gave herself every chance. Good stuff happening there.
Absolutely. So Catherine Bean now on her backhand side.
Although the way the jack sprung away from the bowl, maybe I was wrong. It could be heavy jack.
Yep.
I think I was probably.
And that's a great reply from the St Heliers skip. Look at that.
Unbelievably good. And now St Heliers goes, well, get 3 bowls within that.
That's right.
Get 3 bowls within 3 feet, and good luck. Great game.
It is. It has been a great game, and really the spectators have been treated to a good spectacle of both this and the men's final. Again, the
Robin Fisher,
and she's drawn the shot here. What
that's
a
great
bowl,
stuff. What a bowl!
Well, that's the first of 3 inside it, Alex.
Yeah, well, that's you're not wrong.
and who's to say that Robin won't do that in the form that she's been in this season. Catherine Bean now with her second bowl. And she's close as well.
Oh, these skips, eh? Look at this.
This is top draw stuff.
Look at this.
This
Down
is
onto the
top
jack
draw
from
stuff.
Catherine. Just a foot wide. Making sure she wasn't short there. So probably if she'd missed narrow, it's onto the shot bowl of Robin Fisher. And Robin's task now just to put another bowl there or thereabouts. Her first bowl was perfect. How's the second one?
Looks like she's slightly tighter.
It's trying to hold up.
It's holding. Beautiful bit of weight.
Yeah, just
well, I think that could be 2. I'm going to call that as 2.
Yep. Oh, even that camera angle, it still looks like it might be 2 there, Brett.
So, Catherine Bean, she won't want to put another bowl in the ditch because she's only got that one bowl there. And, you know, I don't know if Robin would be able to get rid of that bowl, but certainly, no, she's played this well. She's played this very well. This is a great bowl
How
here
good's
from
this
Catherine
from
Bean.
Catherine?
Oh, wow.
It's a roller coaster. If you're watching this game, it's been a roller coaster. And Royal Oak holding one. They desperately need to draw a second shot here.
Lee Singer's signalled 1 down.
Oh.
So maybe just deceived a little bit by our camera angle there.
So in that case, Royal Oak game down. Championship down.
Championship down. What
Last
can
bowl.
Robin Fisher do with
Des
her last
Fisher,
bowl?
hands on head.
Hands
He's
on
in full
head.
panic.
She's
This
on
is
a good
close.
line. She's on a good line. She's on a good line. Is she going to get that shot
It's
bowl?
worth
Is
2
she
if
gonna
she'll
get
hold.
the shot bowl? No.
Oh.
Wow.
And there we have it, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just crowned a new Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs champion combination, Catherine Bean and Ling Q. There's shake hands time, and it's the St Heliers combination who have taken out this final in really close fashion. I know we're not going to play the last 10, but just magnificent bowls. And there's a lovely spirit between both Lee and Robin, and also Catherine and Ling, as they celebrate the fact that they've played a very, very good pairs final.
Absolutely. And just before we roll the outro, I'll just remind viewers that the men's fours event, which I'm supposed to be playing in shortly, is coming up. So it's coming up shortly, and you're going to need to find another link. So there's another link. It's on the Bowls Auckland Facebook page. I don't know who's joining you in commentary, Brett. I'm sure you're capable of talking to yourself.
Well, Alex, on behalf of the viewers, we don't often get a chance to see you play these days, but all the very best for your final.
God help us all.
And I'll look forward to seeing you in later this afternoon, but all the very best. And congratulations again to Catherine Bean and Ling Q, our champions in the Auckland Women's Centre Open Pairs from the St Heliers Club.
Well done, Lee. I told you my coach would make a difference.